Hey guys, Nathan here with another Q&A where we'll be answering your questions about the Bible, the church, or anything that you want to know. Here's today's question. How do I respond to people who say, well, Jesus didn't die. He was just close to dead, and then he got out and he just pretended to be alive? And this is another one that you'll see on a couple of TV Easter specials that are trying to gin up some ratings. This one is more popular with like YouTube conspiracy theory that would try to attempt to explain how Jesus rose from the dead. But let's go ahead and break it down. Let's break down this fake death theory. So we'll start off by assuming that the crucifixion went the way that the Bible said, which is how most Roman crucifixions went. That means our first issue with the fake death theory is the brutality of the crucifixion. That Jesus was brutally beaten. He was whipped. He was then nailed to a cross, nails driven through his hands and feet. Plus, a crown of thorns put on his head, and finally a spear jabbed into his side. So that's our starting point. Okay, well, a lot of people have had that happen in that particular time. But number two makes it a little more difficult. Guys, there is no evidence. There is no historical account of anyone ever surviving a crucifixion without that crucifixion being stopped. So 0 out of tens, probably hundreds of thousands. Problem number 3 would be the Roman death checker. Because there was a Roman guard whose job it was to make sure that a person is dead. And that's his whole job. And if he fails at it and a criminal gets away, he could be executed. So he's pretty serious about his work. So what are the odds that he would mess that up? I'd say pretty slim. But let's just go ahead and say somehow Jesus survived the torture, then the Roman guard messed up, and he left Jesus alive. This is where we run into our next problem. Because Jesus was such a highly controversial character, the Pharisees were afraid somebody would come and steal that body. So they put Roman guards outside the entrance. The Roman guards were trained. They were ready to catch somebody. They would have caught him coming out of that grave. And it also adds the fifth problem, which was the stone that blocked the tomb. Now, most historians believe the stone blocking Jesus' way out was likely the size of a small vehicle. So what you're telling me is that Jesus, severely wounded, he got up, he single-handedly rolled the stone aside, and then he got past the trained Roman guards? But again, let's just say, okay, fine, Jesus survived the torture. He survived the cross because the Roman death guard, he messed it up. He single-handedly, as a wounded person, rolled this giant stone away, and then he skipped past the Roman guards. Why would the disciples promote a half-dead guy to God status? Again, Jesus is beaten severely. So this half-dead guy kind of drags in and he's like, hey guys. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, he's holy God. I think they're going to be more like, oh, holy cow, dude, you need to see a doctor. Plus, where'd Jesus go after that? Did he just go into hiding for the rest of his life? And if you're like, well, he probably just died a few days later. Well, that's not overly impressive. He just happened to be a guy who survived something. That's not a reason to promote somebody to God status. So this whole fake death theory that exists, once you actually start breaking it down, the whole theory, it seems so implausible that it just falls apart at the seams. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you again for another Q&A.